diffusion as a cell process, and diffusion in aqueous solutions. Hello everyone, Catherine Morritt here from the Regional Learning Specialist team. By the end of this session, you should be able to describe the process of diffusion and explain using biological language how diffusion works. You should also be able to apply the principle of diffusion to the movement of materials in and out of different cells. Not only this, but we will apply how we learn to how to write excellent answers to examination style questions at the appropriate level. Where do we usually see cells or their representations? We are used to seeing cells as static two-dimensional objects in our textbooks, and sometimes we forget that they are dynamic functioning units. Here you are watching cytoplasmic streaming in plant leaf cells. The biologists will be able to tell you what the little green organelles are. So, if cells are functioning units, they will need materials and energy. Today we are focusing on materials. These materials are dissolved in water. You can list some dissolved materials that move in and out of cells and their organelles. You can pause the video. Some examples of dissolved materials that move in and out of cells and organelles are carbon dioxide, oxygen, glucose, inorganic ions such as sodium, chloride, potassium and carbonate, and organic ions, for example, the carboxylate ion. In this slide, I have added the formulae for the substances and the subscript AQ. This is to remind us that these materials are in aqueous solution. Let's watch a short video, and during this video, I want you to describe what you see. Write down as many observations that you can. Did you say things like, there is a clear liquid in a petri dish and a dark purple solid crystal was added? The crystal disappeared, but the colour spreads out from the centre. The colour seems to get lighter as it spreads out. We could predict that the colour would spread out until it was evenly distributed over the solution. Now if I tell you that the clear liquid in the petri dish is water and the solid crystal is potassium permanganate, you can now explain what is happening. You can pause the video. At the macroscopic level, we could explain that because the colour spreads out, a solution is formed. Now let's think about an explanation at the scale of molecules and ions. The purple potassium permanganate crystal dissolves to form a solution of potassium ions and permanganate ions. Permanganate ions are a deep purple colour, so they are easily visible. Solid potassium permanganate can be written like this, KMNO4 subscript solid, and aqueous potassium permanganate ions are written KMNO4AQ or K plus AQ and MNO4 minus AQ. Potassium ions, or K plus AQ, and permanganate ions, MnO4 minus AQ, move from a region where they are highly concentrated to a region where there is a low concentration of these ions. The aqueous ions move until they are spread throughout the solution. We will watch a short animation that will help you to conceptualize and explain how aqueous ions can move throughout a solution. The ions in this video are sodium ions and chloride ions. You should also recall that water molecules are polar. They have a hydrogen end of the molecule that is slightly positive and an oxygen end of the molecule which is slightly negative. In this diagram, oxygen is represented as the red sphere and hydrogen as the grey spheres. The delta stands for slightly, so delta positive means slightly positive end and delta negative means a slightly negative end. It is the attraction between the polar ends of these water molecules and the ion that makes an aqueous solution of ions. An ionic crystal of sodium chloride is placed in water. Does this sound familiar? Recall the earlier video. Polar water molecules in the liquid phase are in constant motion and interact with the sodium ions and the chloride ions at the surface of the crystal. The aqueous ions move away from the solid. The aqueous ions are in constant motion, so this also helps explain diffusion, because aqueous sodium ions and aqueous chloride ions move from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration until they are spread throughout the solution. We can see this at the macroscopic scale in our potassium permanganate example. We have practiced two skills in this session: to describe and explain the principles of aqueous solutions and to describe and explain the principles of diffusion. We have also practiced how to answer exam-style questions with the key words, describe and explain. These key words can be found in the glossary for your syllabus, where they are arranged in alphabetical order. In future sessions, we will discuss how these keywords relate to the depth of understanding needed to study and respond to ATAR courses. Thank you for your participation in this session, and I encourage you to practice these skills so that your knowledge and skills diffuse across all of your courses. Until next time, goodbye.